A little bit of an interesting topic today, talking about dating advice, whatever. And a lot of you probably thinking like, what does he know about that? Like, how is he qualified? Well, just stick around and listen to the thoughts I have to say. But first, I want to give a little bit of update on my fitness progress. Right now, I'm weighing at. I just weighed myself before this 278. So in a previous video, I reported I was down 30 pounds. So I started at 305. That was at the end of a bulking phase. So naturally, a lot of weight was going to drop no matter what because of the caloric deficit. But I think overall, I've lost in between 10 and 15 pounds as a net loss since I started. And the thing that I noticed is that I lost the weight too quickly. And so my muscle, I guess you'd call it musculature, was diminishing. And it got to a point where I felt like I was getting weaker. Like simultaneously as I was losing weight, I was losing muscle mass. So since then, I've tried to put on a little bit more muscle in the last couple weeks, and I've gotten up to, so like I was down to 275, I think was, or 274 was the lowest I got, and then I'm now back up at 278 ish. But I still need to be doing a little bit better. I could be a little bit stronger, a little bit more developed in that regard. My goal is to be 260, but to be completely lean and not just like light, but to be strong. So I don't want to sacrifice muscle just in the sake for the sake of losing weight. So, anyways, that's my update. Is that I'm down that amount, and I'm working on front squats a lot. The reason being is that now that I've lost weight and I have the potential to be more athletic and explosive, I still need to maintain the muscle that I've built, but now I need to condition that muscle to react more powerfully and explosively. And I feel like a front squat is a perfect way to begin that power building phase. And then after I get adept at this front squat, maybe doing some more overhead squats, which I haven't done in a long time, but doing heavy overhead squats, and then going into more athletic style like explosive training, which I would probably do on a field somewhere. But I'm really excited for all that. I'm just excited to see the progress one day at a time. Anyways, I wanted to give some advice. I had a conversation. So two different things, two different conversations I had. One was with a girl who's a friend at church. We were talking, and she mentioned how, and we were around other people too, but she mentioned how when she goes on dates, that she tells the guy she's with all like her standards up front. She tells them like what to do, what not to do, or like what's okay, what's not okay. And all the girls are like, "Oh, you go, girl boss, girl queen, or whatever, it's, boss queen. What do they call it? I don't know, girl boss." And I'm just like thinking like, oh. Like if I was like, let's say I was a guy that was like, that didn't have the best intentions, or like wasn't you know up to her standard, but hearing her say those things, that kind of gave me the game plan of how I could still get through her defenses and still like get what I want without having to actually commit. And that's, at whatever point I get what I want, then I dip. That's kind of what I thought, and so I had the conversation with her. I was like, wouldn't it be better that and this is after I told her, like, wouldn't it be better that you kept your standards, but just kept them to yourself for the first little bit, for the first few dates, if you're going on dates, and then let the guy just be himself, and then you compare him to what you think he should be. And that way you can weed people out faster. That's kind of what I was thinking. And she said, like, oh, that actually makes a lot more sense. I need to work on that. Another tip, I guess, another thing is, this is mostly for guys, and this is unfortunate, but, like, you say this, and, like, hopefully I don't offend anybody, but most women, I feel like, most young women in America that I've met tend to have they have this nice demeanor, this nice attitude towards most people, but when it comes to simply respecting men and their efforts and things like that, it's like a lot of times girls sometimes don't think more about other people than they think about themselves. I'll give you an example from my roommate, my friend. So basically, he just had his bodybuilding competition. He had a 16-week prep period, and he's been having a lot of interaction with this one girl who he's been really close to for a while, who he has taken her on dates and paid for a lot of things and spent a lot of time with her, invested a lot in her, and he's helped her a lot with a lot of things. And this one time, he was expecting her to show up and support, and she didn't want to go because there was a $50 entry fee for the competition. And then there was like this live stream that was available that would cost $24 to watch, and she didn't want to pay that either. And to him, that just seemed like the biggest blow in their relationship so far, is that with all that he's put out and his effort, time, money spent, whatever, which doesn't matter as much as the time and the energy, but he felt like he did not get an equal exchange as far as like what was important, because the one time he thought that he wanted her to be there, then she wasn't there. And so um the thing I told him, which I don't know, I've never been in that exact situation, but I told him like um the best thing in my opinion would be is to not talk to her again, but to let her like sit with that, the loss of that friendship or the loss of that relationship, whatever it was. And that way, and then if she gets to the point where she is accountable to herself and realizes what she did, leaving him to be by himself in that important moment where he didn't win the competition, he got like fourth place, and he was feeling bad because he had put so much into it, and he did beat out like 100 other people, but still felt like he lost. And in that moment where he needed somebody, he felt like she wasn't there. Other people were there, but anyways, I think it's important to recognize how it's important to find somebody who thinks about you just as much as they think about themselves, because that's the whole point of a relationship, is sacrifice, thinking about the other person, being committed to them. And instead of having to feel like you're forced to tell someone how to behave properly, like there's certain things that someone should just kind of intuitively understand, as far as like respect or as far as whatever, like caring for somebody. There's certain things that just have to happen, that you don't have to necessarily tell someone to do. And if they're not doing those things, that just indicates they're not ready for that level of commitment, in my opinion. I forget what I was saying. Oh yeah, so basically, like if it was me, I would just stop talking to her, and hopefully that would teach her basically like in the next opportunity she has to be with somebody like some other guy, that hopefully she treats him better. If you have to tell her that like, hey, that was messed up what you did, or that was messed up what happened, um, it's because to me it seems like to someone else like it might have seemed like a simple mistake, but to him, who has spent so much time with her, like, and she knew that this was important to him, and she didn't show up, I think it's a different scenario. But anyways, in my mind, I think it's important to have negotiables and non-negotiables, but like these things don't necessarily need to be communicated. They need to be respected, but you need to be with someone who naturally knows to respect those. And if they're not there yet, you can communicate and tell them like, hey, that for me was a sign that this is not going to work. Don't give them the chance to come back from that, because again, it's like giving them the answers to the test. In my opinion, they should have studied beforehand, or they should have known, or maybe now they will know and they'll do better on the next test, but that test won't be with you. That's just a thought of mine. Maybe it's not complete, maybe it's not totally right, but just for people to think about. And that's all I had to say for tonight. Keep thinking about those things, because these are important for building relationships with people.